Life is evanescent. Like the seasons, it is ever changing. Like the storm, it's unpredictable. Many times during the toughest moments of our life, we often believe there is no hope. We feel like we are falling down a dark, endless abyss that just seems like it's swallowing up all the light around us. And that can be overwhelming. But even a storm must run out of rain, and when it does, the sun shines again. Remember, those who walk with faith have nothing to fear, for God will always light the way, even when we least expect it. You see, it's easy to have faith when everything seems to be going well in our lives. But what happens when the tide shifts and things get worse? That, my friends, is when the true test begins. Life has its seasons. There are times of abundance and times of scarcity, times of joy and times of sorrow, a time for pain and a time for healing. Yet even in those hard times, God doesn't abandon us. He is simply molding us, teaching us lessons, and strengthening our faith. But most people overlook that and just give up instead of pushing forward and not fearing the outcome. What God gives, yes, He can also take away. And when He takes, He does it so that we can humble ourselves, so that we can evolve. Human beings have a tendency of getting comfortable when their ego needs are being met. And that creates a big problem, because then we begin to leave God out of the equation. The ego starts to overwrite the spirit, and it begins to think that it's in control, when in fact it isn't. The soul is in control by the grace and power of the Holy Spirit, which is God, not the ego. We've only but look at the world today and see how corrupt it has become. Why do you think that is? Because of the human condition. We have become too content with our way of life and neglected other aspects of ourselves, such as our spiritual growth. And on the inside, that creates a disease. And this disease has no other choice but to manifest itself on the outside. It manifests in the form of suffering, greed, hatred, violence, fear, control, and corruption. Thereby, even the hardships we face today as a society are a byproduct of our own making. We prefer to sit back in our comfortable couch, watch TV all day, and ignore the world's problems. Meanwhile, those problems keep stacking up on top of each other because we refuse to acknowledge them and do something about it. Hence, hardships are a wake-up call from God. They are lessons in and of themselves, and though they may appear to be painful, we must remember that even pain is temporary. So don't resist the change that God is trying to create in your life. Know that He's got your back, but you have to let go of the fear, the doubt, the insecurities, because again, even these are transient, yet God is eternal. And therein lies the power of blind faith. We must put our confidence in God, knowing that He will guide us across any rough waters. But it's a process, and we must trust it. We might not see the destination when everything seems to be falling apart around us, but God can, because He's all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful. He's always present in our lives. But we live in such a busy and distracting world that we forget how to listen, how to observe, how to be present in the moment. 'Cause really, He is all around us, in all things, in the birth of a butterfly, in the blossoming of a flower, in the formation of a snowflake, and even in the very air we breathe. His Spirit lives in us. And that will never change, even in difficult times. It's just that sometimes He steps back in order for us to step up. It's like that moment in our lives where we have to learn to ride a bike without training wheels. There comes a time where our parents have to let us go, and we have to ride that bike on our own. God does the same thing when we are facing hardships. He lets us go so that we can learn and grow on our own. Yet He's always there observing and willing to lend a hand to all those who open their hearts with love and faith. So focus on the one thing that never changes, even across the seasons. And that, my friends, is God's love for you. God has the power to help you during difficult times. So trust me when I say, you're not alone. He's right there with you, even if you can't see Him. God bless.